A SOUQ morning to you and welcome once more to a fiery but still cool Monday morning. It's SOUQ Business Landscape, how we open the station with interesting and captivating headlines that focuses on business and how we take a look at those headlines and how it affects us in Africa. My name is Hanks Mbah. Remember, hashtag SBL across board on social media, especially on YouTube, Facebook as well. Headlines across the world as we dive in. My usual guest is here, Mr. Chooks John Rogers.
Good morning, Ikenna, and have a SOUQ morning.
Yes, have a SOUQ morning, everyone. We want to jump right in. I was going to banter you briefly, but something is saying I should desist. And I will.
Okay. You're welcome.
So business day, right up, of course, right up the jump. We have our first headline for the morning. Federal government targets banks pool of 615 billion naira FX gain. This doesn't need any extra comments. 615 billion naira. Is it real?
It's possible.
Then FG is targeting it to do what precisely?
Well, federal government decided that the excess profit that was made
their money, Abi,
is the bank's money.
Our money.
Well, it's the money made off
okay.
Of naira devaluation, FX up and downs. And
our money.
Banks were the ones that made profits, whereas businesses were the ones that suffered.
Going down.
So imagine what it looks like. So while businesses were suffering because of the devaluation and the dollar going up, the banks were making a kill. And now government is saying, okay, good, if you make this profits, we have to tax 50%. So who exactly should be the ones getting the money? Government or the businesses?
Of course, the businesses. What, life seemed to be, what's the word now? Unfair?
Okay.
All right. Next headline, still on Business Day, Nigeria. Morocco, South Africa, Egypt dwarf Nigeria's $210 million auto industry. Now, all due to low demands for made in Nigeria vehicles and over-reliance on imported second-hand vehicles.
Say what's on your mind. Say what's on your mind. Don't hold it in.
First of all, I'll just a quick comment. Now, there's this vehicle, right, that the cab companies like to frequently use. It's one of their most, if you look in their pool of vehicles,
the imported one.
Is that one? It's an imported brand.
That starts with T.
You're thinking it's so that vehicle used to go for, as at a few years ago, used to go for about 1.8 million naira.
Yes. Yes.
Currently, do you know how much that vehicle is going for?
6.2.
Does that make sense?
Thanks to devaluation and dollar running away.
The percentage increase is not even worth mentioning.
Yes.
Why do we have that problem?
Well, it's all about devaluation. When we start holding people accountable and responsible for actions they do in government, then we can now start saying that yes, we have a headway, or we are looking forward to building something. What's the plan in the first place? That's what you ask. They say government is a continuum. Good and fine. If the last people that were in the helms of affairs of the economy messed up, bring them out and send them to jail. If Rwanda can do it, if Kenya can do it, why can't Nigeria? We are bigger than them.
Even Ghana did it.
If Ghana can do it. I wish it was China. If it's China by now, we'll be going to tell them, sorry, RIP to the family members. But that is the way to go. So if you come back to the
way to go, where there are consequences for certain actions.
Of course, yes. There must be consequences for certain actions.
The last time, one of the last few times on the show, I said to you, when there are two people of the same kind of, how will one send the other person to jail? Think about it.
That is where the people of, we the people, as well we the people.
Is that?
we the people must find a way.
Hmm.
If you don't find a way, then we can't complain. Let's go back to the auto issue.
Yes.
Now, it takes government to jumpstart an industry. It takes government policy to keep an industry growing. And it takes government supervision to make sure that industry doesn't suffer. All this we lack. All because of political considerations. We put politics in front of productivity. So he's not from my place, he's not from my region, he's not from my constituency. So let him fend for himself. And we are suffering it. But the people still don't understand that. Now, for those countries that you mentioned, government patronize made in their country vehicles first, across board. That gives those industry work to do. Then you now have a means whereby you can go and purchase those cars, every person, through bank arrangement that is spread out across board. At the end of the year, even if you don't want it again, you can go and return it and they'll give you another one. You pay the difference and you keep paying. But here we don't have those kind of facilities. The government is not even patronizing the made in Nigeria owns in the first place. So how are they going to grow?
Morocco, South Africa, Egypt. But let me deviate just a little bit. Are we actually manufacturing cars in Nigeria?
Yes, we are.
Many have said that we're assembling cars in Nigeria.
No, we are manufacturing cars in Nigeria.
The steel is from here.
Now, the olden days method of producing from scratch is past. Now, the first question is, whose brand is it? Is it a Nigerian brand? Is it a Kano brand? Is it a Newi brand? Is it a Lagos brand? Yes. Who owns the IP? They own the IP. Yes, they are manufacturing it. Typical example is Boeing manufacturing planes in Texas, in Arizona, in the US. Are they manufacturing planes?
No, of course not.
Oh, they are not. Who told you they are not?
I just assembled.
It's the same thing.
So why are people hashing on that?
That's where the issue is. We look down.
Creating problems for ourselves.
Exactly. Thank you very much. We look down on ourselves. 90%. Okay, the batteries China is using for their EVs, where is it coming from?
Tell us.
It's coming from across the world. What's it called? For the phones they are making, everybody is supplying everybody. It just but who owns the IP at last who owns the IP?
So if these car companies are doing so well, the made in Africa, made in Nigeria vehicles, how come we're not seeing second-hand ones in the streets, second-hand vehicles in the streets as we see the foreign ones?
Yes, now the foreign ones we get to see have been mass produced for a very long time. So you get to see some brands that you still see models of 1980 something, 19.
Another thing people have said is the value, the second-hand value is not there.
I won't call it the second-hand value. Is for someone that bought, let's say, an Innocent 10 years ago, the person will still be driving his Innocent happily. He won't want to part ways with it because he bought a brand new car and it will serve him for the next 15, 20 years. So what's he selling for?
Properly.
If he's maintained properly. So what's he selling it for?
All right, next daily. Business Daily Kenya. Kenya banks snoop on staff with AI in war against fraud. So lenders bet on tech to detect irregularities. Not just that, financial industry is adopting new solutions to minimize losses. Banks have deployed AI, which is what this headline is talking about, to monitor electronic communications by their staff in trading rooms to detect outliers and irregularities. Is that not a good thing?
Well, but that is part of
the issue is, as compared to us who are here complaining about AI, AI is going to take our jobs. AI is creating what they shouldn't be creating. But see what people are doing with AI.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have a whole lot of good, the bad, and the ugly news coming out from Kenya in the next 1 year.
Yes.
Thanks to what happened there.
The past 6 months too, even before Ruto came.
Yes. So for those that have fraudulent tendencies and work in the banks, You have to monitor. That is part of the bank's duty in the first place. You have to monitor people that are taking care of people's monies in the first place. So now that Japa is also hitting Kenya, that industry has to buckle up. Now, the question now will be, who is monitoring those that are monitoring people? That's where the question will now be. We had a case of, who mentioned the country, where the people in charge of IT, all of a sudden, in a particular bank, 80% of them disappeared overnight. It was not the disappearance that was the issue. It was, what did they disappear with?
More headlines from Business Daily in Kenya. Treasury on the spot, over 2.6 billion shilling tax gift to e-bike firm. So rival firms are upset that the said amount, 2.6 billion, of public funds is being transmitted to pay taxes for a private EV firm. So my issue with this is this against the law or is it a normal occurrence? And if it is, both ways, how do we deal with this? Government funds for private company. Is there a reason? It's like, you know why I say this and why we pick this to talk about? It's like the government now giving Dangote a concession because of what he has done and the things he has, how he has raised the economy, created thousands of jobs, if not millions of jobs. So when something like that happens for Dangote in Nigeria, is it against the law? Is it advisable?
But concession is give and take.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I'm just saying. How does this look?
We should have asked the EV company who owned the EV company, or who has more shares in the EV company, who are those involved in setting up the EV company.
Yeah, but would you ask that if it was done for Dangote?
No, for Dangote now, if you give concession to a company, you now say, okay, what are they bringing to the table?
Exactly.
What are they offering? Why are they asking for a concession?
Remember the last time on the show we talked about how they're moving their focus from electronic vehicles to scooters, electronic scooters. So government might see something like that as a plus to the people and to them, for them as well.
Was that concession or tax? So if you give them concession on tax, good. But if you use government money to pay for, then we'll have an issue.
Yeah. Government, how do they say it in that popular fella song? I'll let that slide. Business Day South Africa will move quickly. Further down the horn. Banks repo rates decision risky. So it is reported here that the decision by the Monetary Policy Committee of South Africa's Reserve Bank to hold the repo rate steady at its July meeting was risky. That such a policy may see South Africa's economy enter a recession down the line. Who wants? Chris Holdsworth, who is Investec Wealth and Investment Chief Investment Strategist. Many times when these strategists make comments like this, people look at the portfolio and in the next vein, you take it a notch to look at, okay, what they have said. Is it for the ops or is it actually, does it make sense?
Yeah, but for Africa, it's good for us to tell ourselves some bitter truth sometimes.
Right.
Over 70% of what we've heard or what we've been told or what we've been advised from Brentwood institutions and the likes have not been to our favor. Remember, they are profit-making organizations too.
Correct.
So they will advise you against what will stop their profit. Interest comes first.
Okay. Next headline. Investment boss urges South Africa to grab the moment. And what is being referred to here, JP Morgan's global chair for investment banking has urged South Africa to seize the moment at a time when geopolitical events have prompted a reassessment of investment opportunities for them in South Africa, which offers real upside for South Africa. And described as one of the most senior people on Wall Street, she was speaking at a recent visit to Johannesburg to meet clients and host an inaugural women's leadership event. This lady is saying, South Africa, take advantage now. And I'm wondering how is now different. How is the geopolitical scene conducive for them?
Now you are really hitting the nail at the head. You don't want to say what's on your mind. Say it. South Africa is the darling of the West right now because of BRICS.
Really?
Yes.
No, but isn't BRICS supposed to not be a good thing for the West?
That is why they want South Africa
To opt out.
Of course, yes. Even if they're not open, okay, stay with us.
But South Africa is already BRICS.
Thank you very much. And South Africa happens to be the strongest member of the BRICS.
Really?
In Africa.
Oh,
on this side of the divide.
It's
so
just one country, so it can't be the strongest.
It's just one country. One country can influence the entire 54.
Yes, it's the first country and it's the only country, and it started strongly that Nigeria might get in there.
We need to get our ass right first.
All right, on to Financial Express. Bangladesh, money outside banks rising amidst disconcerted road rockers. So the lending rate in the banking sector of Bangladesh is part of the central bank's inflation containing measures. This rose to around 14% as rates to deposit keeps rising as well, crossing well over 10% in this sector.
For Bangladesh, as the economy is doing well, those within the banking sector, they have to fashion a way of making banking very, very, not just favorable, but something you look at and want to get involved in. Now, the common person on the street is able to trade or farm,
right,
or do one drop end product to the other. Now, make sure that when he thinks of banking, he is not scared of you taking too much money off him. He would rather hold the money and do his business and keep turning over. So this is where bankers need to think like China. China will tell you, don't worry, bring your money. We'll give you more interest. Don't worry, bring your money. If you have to do business, forget about how much you have, we'll give you more. So if they think towards that aspect, then good and fine, they would do better. Then also, remember that there is a whole lot of intrigues where the West is coming to advise where the advice it was not even called for in the first place. So that will also give people that mistrust with the banking sector.
We saw it 2 or 3 headlines back, the advice.
Oh yeah, advice from high quarters.
All right, next headline. Government to seek $700 million from AIIB for deficit financing. Still on Kenya. Why are they funding deficits, really?
The money is not there, and you're dropping budgets that you don't have money to finance. What? They should just say directly they're looking for a loan.
Yeah, that's a subtle way. That's what I think.
But they don't want to say it directly. Just say we are looking for a loan.
Okay. Financial Gulf Times, the financial business daily in Qatar. Philippines trade official keen on knowledge sharing tech transfer with Qatari businesses. So the Philippines Department of Trade and Industry is keen to play an active role in facilitating knowledge sharing and technology transfer between Qatari businesses and their Filipino counterparts. And this is such a commendable thing.
It's good. So these are kind of headlines we hear and see, and just wish that Africa is emulating and copying people around their own blocks or close to their own blocks.
And actually, one of my favorite publication, Gulf Times.
And not wait for some technocrat, as we call it, or professor from Harvard to tell you what to do, that somebody is paying him to come tell you what to do. Qatar, the Middle East, they are getting it right. And Philippines, they are not far from India.
Yeah.
So they still have that tech-savvy population.
All right, next headline. Qatar Stock Exchange sees demand across the board. Index gains 37 points. So demands are coming because the index is gaining 37 points.
With the demand come profit.
That's normal, right? So, like they say, the rich family member has plenty. The rich has plenty family members and friends.
For now. For now.
Okay, let's move over to Financial Times London. Harris raises, so they're talking about the reporting on the US, and there's a reason why, we picked this headline. So Financial Times London reports Harris, of course, Tamala, raises $200 million in first week of record-shattering election campaign. Now, my thing is, that's not the meat, right, for me, this headline. It's how does this singular act affect us, Nigeria as a nation, and Africa by extension? If it actually does, what's the kickback? What's the spillover effect of such an act? They've called it record breaking. Let me leave that. So how does this affect us?
Okay.
And in
how
what
does
ways?
the money itself?
The money, the way it was raised,
Okay.
This
is the good part. That's why we need to, if we say we want to practice democracy, then let's practice it the way those that invented it put it on paper. If Hanks Mbah decides to contest for governor of Enugu State, it's not expected that you should spend your entire money on that project. It's expected that you come out, declare your interest, then from party and around the party, funds will be raised for you to go out there and do the do. Which means that at the end of the day, you didn't empty your bank account and your pocket contesting for that particular position, which means when you win, you are not looking for how to go and recoup what you spent. That is what is obtainable in Africa, in Nigeria.
Okay.
Whereby, before you become the president, you will spend your money. At a particular point in time, some politicians will go to the bank and the bank will give them a loan. And when the bank gives them the loan and you win, then that bank becomes the official bank of the state. So this is where we think we should start changing. So the people will put in their pennies, their $1, their #1, and support who they want to support. So it doesn't matter the person in the village, the rich person, the corporation, or the guy just collecting salary. Everybody will chip in something and say, okay, yeah, I'm supporting this ideology, so I chip in this. Then you win. That way, when you start doing what they didn't put you there to do, they will have every right to go to the street and say, hey, guy, come down.
Calm down, indeed. Next headline. EU diplomats told to cancel embassy parties after busting this year's budget.
Guys are lounging.
See, so when a headline like this comes, it tells me that there are people that care, one. Secondly, there are people that are on the lookout for such frivolities, especially when it starts. So picture the call to order. And for it to have come this far, that means they took notice and they are curbing it. And for them to call that to order, and it's EU, then something is being done.
Yeah. Guys are lounging. They are partying like it's 2012. Congratulations to them. They have free money to party. But that's also where we get to see the rule of law.
Busting a
and
budget?
Accountability. Of course, yes. Not
that's excessive spending.
But just wait. People will be held accountable. Somebody will pay.
All right. Business Post will shuffle over to India. The country received $1.5 billion in 24 days of July. This hits me differently. So they're talking about the Indian publication is reporting about Bangladesh. So Bangladesh received $1.5 billion in remittances in the first 24 days of July. First 24. And you know the best part? According to this report, and of course the Bangladesh Bank, in the first 18 days of July, the country received an average of $79 million in daily remittances.
Now,
Bangladesh again.
Let's rewind.
I love Bangladesh.
Let's rewind. Some days back, our own government was looking forward to remittance coming from outside. You remember?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Now, these other people are telling you, this is what people that are outside our country is bringing back. They are not tying government planning based on that. They're not tying ability to get FX based on that because they are productive themselves. But they're telling you, hey, we are not just productive in-house. Even those that are outside are also very productive. So it's just more like, hey, everybody's showing up their cards and say, hey, wherever we are, we stand out. 1.8 million in
Daily.
Okay.
Incredible. Still on the publication. Foreign debt servicing crossed $3 billion in fiscal year 2024. Bangladesh still.
They have the money.
And what about people like India?
Oh, India, they are on another level.
Another level of good or bad?
They are on another level of good.
All
They are
right.
on a different level of good. And one good thing about India is everyone contributes their quota to grow their
To the
economy.
economy.
So there are people that are just farmers. It's a farming community.
And they stay in that space.
And they just stay in that space.
and do their work.
Them,
As not just for them, as it also affects the nation.
exactly. Them, their fathers, those fathers that were before them. Same thing with their children. Those that want to leave, go take other jobs, no problem. But somebody else is taking your place. And when it comes to their productivity, the government treats them like, hey, don't mess with them.
Special.
Because some earlier this year and later part of last year, they had to go to the streets, blocked everywhere with tractors because of some policy that was not favoring them. So this is where we should get to, where we should treat every sector of the economy, every region that decides to say, okay, good, this is what we are good at, this is what we are going to focus. Treat them with respect and make policies that will make them productive.
Because by and large, it affects the nation positively.
Directly.
But is it not such a good thing that many are getting involved in agriculture? Many are going back to the farms.
Where?
In Lagos, in Nigeria.
If we don't do that like very fast, the hunger that will shake us,
right?
The hunger that will shake us, it will hug us, not just shake.
We will not be hungry. And so that's where we bow out on SOUQ Business Landscape today, Monday, lovely Monday. Thank you, Chukson Rogers.
Thank you for having me.
I had a beautiful time. My name is Hanks Mbah. We've come to the end. Remember, interact with us. Follow us across all social media at SOUQ News Television. And we'll continue the conversations about the headlines over there. Stay tuned for Early Exchange and the news.